Shubham karotu kalyanam arogyam sukha sampadaha. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman. Namaskar, Assalamu Alaikum. Sweet and positive good morning to you listeners on 103 FM. It's now 4 minutes after 5, the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And if you're now joining with us, you are tuned in to the journey this morning, Shanti Vandana. This weekend, friends, we continue with beautiful discussions on what is required to have a positive and sweet personality. Yesterday, we spoke about taking responsibility for our actions and our inactions, as the case may be. We spoke about being considerate, where the young boy was shown that notwithstanding the little monies he had, he took a smaller serving of ice cream and allowing himself to give, notwithstanding little he had, to give of his resources as a tip to the waitress. To be considerate, my friends. Yesterday we spoke about ensuring that our words are chosen carefully, and we concluded with how do we go about positively giving criticism. Today, let us continue on that journey as we explore not just about giving positive criticism, but how do we go about receiving criticism. You see, friends, in life, it is not necessary that we must always be surrounded by people who say things that we want to hear, things that are pleasing to us. But dear friends, it is important to associate and keep people close to us who out of good intentions, who out of in our best interest will not be fearful or hesitant to tell us things that we don't want to hear, especially if it comes from a place of love and caring. Children of Shanti Vandana, there will be times when you will need to be criticized. Sometimes you'll be criticized justly, and sometimes it may be unfair. But the greatest people in the world, when you look around at the success stories, they have all been criticized. And you see, justified criticism can be very helpful and should be taken positively as feedback. Today, as we begin these conversations, I take you back to the Ramcharitamanas. Everyone knows about the demon king, Ravan. And Ravan was one of those individuals, notwithstanding the great blessings that he had from Bhagavan Shiva. His ego got so inflated. His pride, his abhiman was so inflated, my friends, that he did not allow anyone to tell him anything other than what he wanted. And dear friends, today we begin this conversation on Shanti Vandana. If you want to be a positive person, if you want to be a sweet personality to be around, don't let people be afraid to share with you, especially criticisms that may be in your best interest. You see, the only way you will never be criticized is if you do nothing, if you say nothing, and if you have nothing. Because in the end, you will end up being a big nothing. You see, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, this entire Gita, this entire poetic rendition of high philosophy by Bhagavan Krishna, it was intended purely to say to Arjuna, my friend, I have come into this world and I am bounded by action. I cannot not do anything. I must always engage in action. And therefore, when you are engaged in action, you may sometimes or many times be susceptible to criticisms. Dear friends, unjust criticisms may come from two places. It can come from ignorance, people who are criticizing you out of ignorance, or it may come from people making comments about you based on jealousy. But dear friends, an inability, if you cannot accept constructive criticism, that may also be a sign of poor self-esteem. Dear friends, here are some suggestions for receiving criticism. It is so very easy to criticize someone else, but it is so very difficult to receive criticism. Here are some suggestions. The first, it is to Take it in the right spirit. Deal with it graciously rather than grudgingly. Second, evaluate it with an open mind. If it makes sense, accept it. Learn from it and implement it. Don't be defensive. Accept constructive criticism immediately and emphatically. You know why, friends? Because it disarms the other person. Can you imagine if someone criticizes you and the first response that you give them is, "Sister, I agree." Notice what that response does to the person who is criticizing. It automatically takes down the level in which the conversation will continue. You see, thank that person who gives you that criticism or that constructive criticism, because he or she means well and that person has helped you. You see, friends, a person with high self-esteem would accept positive criticism and would become better. That person will become better rather than bitter. Dear friends, being criticized is a part of life. It is a part of the reality that we must all endure at different moments and under different circumstances. And therefore, being positive is not always being praised. Being positive sometimes requires you to take criticism, especially constructive criticism, and make yourself better, not bitter. Make yourself better because you were criticized. This is Shanti Vandana on the First, the Finest, 103 FM.